Do you use or want to use nutritional yeast flakes as part of your plant-based diet?
Well, today on WTF, we're going to cover 2 great recipes that use nutritional yeast flakes, a Muenster cheese and a Nacho cheese that you can make at home. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Skye.
And I'm Janie Wang, the owner of Modernist Pantry. So if you're tuning in with us for the first time here on WTF, what we do is every week we talk about a unique ingredient and/or technique, and we tell you how to use it and show you some really cool recipes on what exactly it can do. So if you like what you see today, remember to subscribe, ring the bell, so that you're going to get fresh content every week that you're not going to get anywhere else on YouTube. So that about covers my spiel. Yeah. But so today we're actually going to be talking about organic nutritional yeast flakes, which is, in terms of like our ingredients, not the most revolutionary, but certainly a really interesting and unique product that I think we have some pretty unique applications for. Yeah. So, Scott, what exactly is what is a nutritional yeast flake?
So when people hear yeast, they immediately think baker's yeast or brewer's yeast, but this is actually an inactive yeast. So this is all for flavor rather than for functionality of, making a brew work or making a bread rise, things like that. So this is mainly used, for cheese flavor or adding flavor and some vitamins to different dishes. Like we have a Nacho cheese here, and we also have a Muenster cheese as well. So it's not, that's a big thing. It's not baker's or brewer's yeast. You can't just take this, put it into a bread dough and expect it to rise. It's completely inactive. Yeah,
I think so just instead of a functional ingredient, it's more of a, I don't want to say a full supplement, but it's definitely something you eat for your health and for the flavor of it.
Yeah, it's a flavoring for sure, especially in this type of recipe. It's going to add so much to the recipe, whereas it would just be a bit bland until you add this.
Okay. And I know that, a lot of times in grocery stores, people will see nutritional yeast nowadays, but ours is organic, which makes it quite a bit different from what people get in grocery stores. Can you touch upon maybe a few of what those differences are?
Sure. So when you fortify something, you add, vitamins to it to make it more nutritional. And then when you add certain B vitamins, you can get this kind of almost neon yellow color. And that's the ones that you're usually going to see. But when they're organic, you can't be fortifying if it's organic. That's just one of the rules against it. So we have this more natural kind of brown color to it. And I actually think that's a lot more pretty than that. That looks artificial to me.
Right.
So this has some natural vitamins in it. It has some natural B vitamins, but it's not fortified with extra to make it more nutritional. So it is nutritional. It does have the vitamins and some folic acid in it, but it doesn't have that fortified like this one over here.
Yeah, and if you look at kind of, if we can get a close-up on the 2 different yeast flakes here, what I love about our yeast flakes is generally you get these like really big, like large flakes right here. You can kind of see just how I think cheese-like they are, as opposed to this one right here, which we got from a grocery store, and it's almost powdery, so it's like really not that flaky, at least to me.
Yeah, there are some flakes in it, but it's mostly broken down into a powder.
Yeah, and when I talk to customers and when they're talking about how they like to use it, a lot of them will say like, oh, I love to sprinkle it on my pasta, and I love to sprinkle it over other things because it really adds both the flavor and like it feels like you're adding like cheese shavings or some kind of shavings to your food, which is a really nice benefit.
Yeah, that's great if you can't eat dairy or you don't eat dairy, so you have a way to get there and you get that kind of cheesy flavor from it. It's a natural kind of like little fermenty flavor, which is great for all types of foods.
Yeah, and I know also that the organic yeast here, it has added rice flour, it has added salt. Yes. And a lot of times, sometimes people will be like, well, the rice flour is a filler, so you're getting less nutritional yeast. And that's not really the case, right? So can you talk a little bit about what is the role that, that rice plays, and is it, like, are you what is a filler versus not a filler?
So filler is such a weird thing because we see these ingredients on there, and we talk about this in a lot of episodes. And filler, it's not in there to bulk up or anything like that. Generally, when you're adding something like the rice flour, which is organic as well, so that's in there to make sure that these flakes form. This also makes sure that these flakes don't stick together. We talk about this so much, that these things love moisture, and rice flour helps kind of repel that moisture. It helps keep it free flowing, so we don't open the bag, we have a clump of it. Sometimes when you have brown sugar and you open it, that's the moisture getting in there and turning into a hard rock, and that could happen with any of these ingredients. So that's what those are there for. They add no extra flavor. They're in such a small quantity that you're not going to taste them. It's not going to taste of rice. It's going to taste of nutritional yeast flakes.
Yeah, and I think if you didn't have it there, you wouldn't have those like big, beautiful flakes at all.
Yes, you would not.
So it's kind of a trade-off. Like, what do you want? So all right. So we have two really fun recipes here. Which one do you want to start with?
So let's start here, because all the action's going to be over here. But let's talk about the gentle chef, Skye Michael Conroy. He is a great chef who came up with a book called the Non-Dairy Evolution Cookbook, and he has a ton of different recipes, so you don't have to eat dairy. Everything from cheese to sour cream. I could go on and on for days. And this is his Muenster recipe, which we have taken and put on our blog. He's so nice of allowing us to do that. But this is a great recipe. So this cheese is hard. You can grate it. You can shave it over things. You can melt it. You can put it on a cheese plate. You would never know the difference between this and a normal cheese by the look of it. The texture is slightly different, but that's what you're going to have with a cheese analog. But with this, you get all that great flavor, that meltability, which is huge, especially in Muenster, and just a little bit of smoked paprika on the outside adds an extra depth of flavor to it. So I really like this recipe. That's probably one of my favorite cheese recipes that he has made. But this recipe we've kind of taken and adapted and made our own type of nacho cheese.
Okay, and just before we move on to that, if you are interested in getting this recipe, the link is in the description below, as well as information on how to learn more about Skye and going to his website, because he is like just a fantastic innovator in the vegan world and for different types of like new techniques. So we highly recommend, if you are vegan or thinking about it, check out Skye. He's a great friend, and we love him to death.
It's not just one cookbook either. He has numerous cookbooks on many different topics, but now we're getting off topic by gloating about Skye and how wonderful
bring it back.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really great. He's been a great resource for helping me do things as well here. So we have the nutritional yeast flakes here, and in this pot that we have made our nacho cheese, it's a little bit of coconut oil, some water, soy milk powder, a little bit of tapioca starch to get that stringiness. There's a little bit of cayenne in there. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit of paprika. You can change up this recipe to your liking with your flavors.
Okay.
The lactic acid really brings this forward. So with this, we have to add the lactic acid late in the recipe because we have a binder in there called Carrageenan. Carrageenan isn't a big fan of acid, so you have to set the Carrageenan before you add the acid. With this, I just blend it right in there. And that acid is what you look for in a nacho cheese. When you bite into it, it's not just salt, it's that acid that's really bringing the flavor. So we add some lactic acid in there, there's some salt. So I'm gonna take my nutritional yeast flakes and I'm just gonna put them in. And I'm just gonna mix them in, and after a few minutes, they'll start to dissolve, they'll break up. You can blend them in if you want, which is totally fine. This I'm just gonna show you mixing them in, which you can do with no issues. And then we're gonna pour it directly over our nachos here. They're great. And when you get a bite of it and you get those pieces, you're going to taste that big kind of cheese flavor, right?
And if you do want to learn more about vegan cheeses in general, in the link in the description below, we also have an entire episode that's all about vegan cheese, and that's episode number 105, so you can get that anytime.
Great. So these are just coming in now, starting to dissolve. Spoon over here, and I'm just going to spoon them over my nachos. And you'll see this as it hits, it starts to set just like nacho cheese does. Janie, if you want to dig in. I might dig in as well. I don't get to eat too much on this show, which is different than my everyday life.
All right. Here we go.
So we can both try, maybe not at the same exact time. But you will get that cheese flavor. You'll get that bite of acidity, that salt content. I like the pepper or the jalapenos.
Yeah, it is really nice. I'm trying to not chew very loud so we're not blowing out our mics, but just like trying to be as ladylike and delicate as possible.
Me as well. Right. So I think that pretty much wraps up with what we're talking about vegan cheese, or not vegan cheese, but nutritional yeast flakes to make vegan cheese and all sorts of other wonderful things. It's organic. You get that really beautiful color. Like I said, this one will make things orange or will make things yellow. This one will not. But you get all that flavor and all that kind of saltiness, that fermenty flavor that you're looking for in cheese with just one ingredient.
Yep, and you don't even have to be vegan to use it. You can use it in basically any cooking where you want to replace some cheese and you want to just replace the cheese flavor of it. So definitely give it a shot. You know, you can get all of our recipes here on the blog. The links will be in the description. Or if you try your own, definitely let us know what you come up with. We'd love to see what people are doing, so leave your comments on this channel here, or tag us on social media or whatever. We'd love to hear from you. So from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Skye. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And turn that bell on because it notifies you when we drop a new video.
If you like any of today's recipes, go to blog.modernistpantry.com. There you'll find recipes, Ask a Chefs, and tips and tricks, and more.
And if you have a friend who you think would like this video, share it with them.
And to get any of these great ingredients, just go to our website, www.modernistpantry.com.
And until next time, we'll be here in the Test Kitchen, helping you create memorable and magical experiences.